Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello, dear friends. I am Professor Jasim Ahmed from IASC Faculty of Education, Jamia Millia Islamia. Today I am going to start to talk on aspects of development. And in this series of lectures on aspects of development, this is the first lecture on this topic. And the title of this discussion is Introduction to Physical, Social and Intellectual Development. So, the main objectives of today's discussion are that after the discussion is over, you will be in a position to state the meaning of physical development. You will be in a position to tell the meaning of social development. You will be also in a position to define intellectual development in your own words, and you will also list out salient features and characteristics of physical, social, and intellectual development. And finally, you will be able to describe how to enrich and enhance these aspects of development among learners. So friends, before we go into the details of the physical development, social development, and mental development, I think it is very essential to put some light on growth and development, how these two concepts are differentiated from each other. You must be aware that growth is a quantitative change in the body of an organism, in the body of a child, whereas development is a qualitative change. So you can say that growth as a quantitative aspect of development, whereas development as a wider term, it is overall change in the body of an organism. For example, the change in the size of finger, or growth, or you can say the increase in the size of finger, in the size of arm, is a part of growth, whereas the functioning aspect of the arm, functioning aspect of the fingers, the ability to use fingers, the ability to move fingers, the ability to use fingers for certain activity is a functional part of this finger, and that's why it is development. It is not a simple growth. So now you can also observe that growth is directly observable in nature. So you can observe any kind of growth going on in the learner. You can observe the height increasing from birth, time of birth to different ages. You can observe how the learner is progressing in their height, in their tallness, and how the weight is increasing, and how the fingers are going to change, how the body parts are changing, how the appearance of an individual, appearance of the learner is changing. These all are part of growth, which can be observed by any individual, which can be observed by the parents, which can be observed by the teachers. Whereas development is indirectly observable. You cannot directly observe development. You cannot directly observe the ability of an individual to write. You will have to put the learner, you will have to put the child to write something, and only then you can observe whether the learner is able to write or not. So the functional part cannot be observed directly. They are observed through indirect process. So you can say that as we have physical tools of measurement, we have a scale for measuring the length of an object. We have a beaker to measure the quantity of water or quantity of a chemical in the given beaker. We have the weight and balance to measure the quantity of an object, which can be weighted, which can be measured using the balance. So we have different tools of measurement of the physical quantities. Like we can also measure the temperature of our body using our thermometer. So these are the tools, and that's the reason that growth can be measured with perfection, whereas development cannot be measured with perfection because development is not directly observable. For example, intelligence of an individual cannot be observed directly. You will have to take intelligence test, and that intelligence test too do not observe with perfection. At some point of time, the same intelligence test will give you 120 IQ of the same child, and at another time, the same test by the same child will give you 118 or 110 or maybe 130 IQ. So these are the tools, like tool to measure attitude, tool to measure aptitude, the tool to measure interest. These are the personality variables, and these are developmental aspects which cannot be measured with perfection. Although we try to measure these things for the educational purposes, but these tools do not give the perfect result. Again, you must be aware that growth is a time-bound process. So when the child reaches the puberty stage, the growth process is stops, but the developmental process go out throughout the life. So development basically starts from the womb of the mother, and it goes on until the individual go to the next life, you can say, go to the tomb, you can say. So cradle to grave, the process of development starts from cradle and it goes onto the grave. Similarly, growth may or may not bring development. It should be also taken into consideration. The growth may or may not bring development, whereas development is also possible without full growth. For example, you can take the example of a person who is not having good height. The person is dwarf, but despite being dwarfness, the person may have so many capacities and so many abilities. They can perform in some field better than the normal person. So these are the basic differences between growth and development. Both are very important for the education of children. One should also understand that growth and development go hand in hand until maturity. So until the age when a learner, when the child gets mature, till that process, till that moment of life, growth and development go hand in hand. Because of this, the two terms growth and development are generally used collectively as development. So whenever we use development in our succeeding lectures, succeeding discussion, you should receive it as growth and development collectively. After maturity, growth stops, but development go on until the age at which the effect of aging becomes dominant in individuals' behavior. Now, friends, come to the various aspects of development. Here we are going to talk about 6 major aspects which are the part of our curriculum, part of our discussion. These 6 aspects are physical development, intellectual or mental development, social development, emotional development, moral development, and language development. Out of these 6 development, today's discussion is based on the first 3, that is physical development, intellectual development, and social development. And these 3 developments will be discussed only at basic level, that is introductory part of all this development, because the main discussion or the in-depth discussion or the complete and whole discussion will be taken up by some other expert in another presentation, another discussion sometime later. So first of all, talk about physical development. You must be aware that physical development, what would be, you can imagine by just looking at the term physical. As we know that physical objects are those which are having physical existence. So similarly, physical development are those development which are, which can be observed, which are there, these are the developments which take place in the body of an organism, either internal or external, but which results into the growth and development of body parts of an individual. So growth and development of physical parts, that is internal and external organs, comes under physical development. And the main component of this physical development is basically change in size, change in weight of an individual, change in height of an individual, change in body proportion of an individual, of a growing child. the change in physical appearance of a child, all these comes under physical development. So, dear learners, changes occur in the functioning of glands, all other system of the body like nervous system, circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive system, skeletal system, muscular system, lymphatic system, and reproductive system. And all these systems, grow and develop in terms of its functioning. Now, try to understand and try to see the pattern of physical development. It is very important for a teacher as well as for the parents to understand and to know what is the general pattern of growth and development. What are the general pattern of physical development of the children, so that the parents as well as teachers can be aware about these things and can guide the children, can educate their children, can teach the children, and can do proper management for the proper growth and development of the children in the family environment as well as in the school environment. And if need arise, they may refer their children, their learners to some doctors and some counselors if the need arises only then. So now let us see the pattern of physical development. Although you will find that there is a wide individual differences, as we know that we all are born and we are the product of heredity and environment. Each and every child is unique, as we have discussed in the previous presentation, that each child is unique, each learner is unique, and each learner, each of us, each and every personality, is a product of heredity and environment. And you must be aware that heredity is different for all of us, for every one of us. And environment also varies from individual to individual, from family to family, from society to society, from community to community. Even within the family, the environment differs for one child and for other child, for different siblings, for different brothers and sisters, because of pattern of communication and pattern of interaction, pattern of friendship that they develop in their life. So let us look at some of the important pattern of physical development. Not a perfect, but to some extent follow a general pattern. That is very important to understand. Number one, increase in body height and weight. Average weight at birth of a child is 7 to 8 pounds, which is equivalent to 3.1 kilogram to 3.6 kilogram. So if the child is born maybe underweight or maybe overweight, in both the cases, the doctors, the parents need to be alert. Similarly, average length or height of a child at birth is 19 to 20 inches. And after the birth, first 2 years see rapid increase in height and weight of the children, but steady and slower from third year till puberty. By 5 years of age, height is almost double and weight increase almost 5 times. These are the general pattern. Similarly, during adolescence, that is between age 12-13 to age 18-19, sudden increase in height and weight is observed among the growing children. Girls reach puberty about 1 or 2 years earlier than boys do. Therefore, between 12 to 14 years of age, girls are slightly taller and heavier than boys of that age. But boys surpass the girls again in their height and weight. By the end of adolescence, boys are generally taller and heavier than girls, and they achieve their maximum height. Weight may have lots of variation depending upon environment and nutrition available to the growing children. Now see the change in proportion of the different parts of the body of a growing child. You may have observed, or you can observe from today, if chances are available to you, that the newborn baby's head is 1/4 of body height at birth. So whenever a child is born, his head is almost 1/4 of the body height. As the child grows, the proportion of the head decreases, and by the age of 8 years, head is equal to 1/8 of body height. So you can see that the proportion of head is decreasing day by day as the child is growing. Most of children acquire their milk teeth by the time they are of 2 years. By the end of 5 years of age, the permanent teeth begin to appear. They take longer to grow as compared to milk teeth. Growth and development of internal organs and their functioning. All systems constantly grow and develop from birth until maturity. The general trends are very rapid from birth to 2 to 3 years. It means that after birth to the age of 2 to 3 years, the change is very rapid. The change is very rapid. Then it becomes slower till 12 to 13 years of age, which is the beginning of the adolescence. First 3 years of adolescence, rapid growth and development takes place, and again it slows down until they attain maturity. So this is the general trend. Now come to the motor development, which is very important in the life of each and every individual, each and every growing child. No, you must be aware that motor development are the development which is generally basically related to the motor activities or the activity of the body parts which are involved in in some sort of functioning or some sort of movement. For example, if you write and you write with the help of fingers, and use of finger for writing is basically motor activity of the finger. If you walk with the help of your feet, and this is motor activity of your leg. If you jump again, so you are using some motor activities. If you are painting, or if you are drawing, you are using motor activity of your hands, your fingers. So these are the motor activities. So each and every activity which we perform in our day-to-day life is a result of motor activity and is a result of motor development. It is very important for a teacher and for a parent to understand these and to know the pattern of this development, so that they can observe, and they can take care of the proper development of the child. So ability to move, use body parts is basically motor development, as I have already said. According to Crow and Crow, motor capacities are the various kinds of bodily movements that are made possible through the coordination of nerve and muscle activity. For example, walking, running, jumping, swimming, grasping any object, throwing a stone or anything by the children, then catching, if the children are playing cricket or catching some balls, then writing activity by the learners, then eye movement, and and we also have some eye movement. We used to see here and there, up and down, so we move our eyes in different directions from where the voice is coming, sound is coming, from where any kind of signal is coming. You used to move your eyes. This is again motor activity again. So for holding a pen by the children or by all of us, or any other tool, it is also a kind of motor activity. So without these movements, no skills can be performed by any child, by any individual. So it is very important. So observing the pattern of motor development at different stages and taking proper action to improve upon is very important task for teacher, for especially those teacher who are teaching at pre-nursery and school level, as well as at primary level of education. But of course, it is equally important for all the parents and all the individuals who are involved in parenting of the children. And then come to the eye coordination. You must have observed that how the eye coordination work for the children and for an individual. See whether it is satisfactory. You have to see whether the newborn baby has a proper eye movement or not, whether it is satisfactory or not, whether the child is focusing eyes on the stationary object and following eyes on the moving object or not. You will see that at the birth of the child, children usually focus on stationary object, but after some time, the child moves their eye, left and right, up and down, and the movement of eye, starts. And if it is coordinated well, you can think that the process of the development of eye coordination is satisfactory. Similarly, you can look into the control and movement of head. You must have observed that the newly born babies, especially from age 0 to 1 month, they have little control over their head. So whenever you lift a baby, you need to give support to the head of the baby from below, because they need the support. But after 1 month, from 1 month to 2 months, head movement starts. So the children and the baby used to move their head left and right and to see something. So from where the voice is coming, they move towards that side. So they raise head above surface. So this starts. Then after 3 months, over 3 months, they are in a position to hold head erect on sitting, which was not possible before. So this is basically the gradual development in the control and movement of head of the child. So now friends, come to the elementary school stage. which is the most important concern for all of us, all the teachers who are teaching at elementary level from class 1 to class 8, or teaching the children who are between the age group of 6 to 14 years. You will find that the children at this stage pay attention for a little longer duration as compared to the duration they were in a position to pay attention at the previous age level. Here, after 6 years, you will find that the attention span is a little longer, and this is very important for learning. And if you find that the attention duration is not longer, it is still short, then it is a point to be noted, and we need to take care of the child. By 7 years, grips pen tightly and holds it close to the point. So you will find that the children at 7 years, when they hold the pen, they grips pen very tightly and hold it close to the point. By 8 years, they may write more evenly and easily as the hand-eye coordination improves a lot. So if this is the pattern of growth of the child in terms of writing and holding the pen, then you can say that the child is growing and developing in a proper manner. But if you don't see these changes, these growth, and these pattern of development as far as the holding of pen is concerned, and paying attention to the teacher is concerned, you should be very alert about that. At 10 to 12 years of age, the children show manipulative skills more precisely, and so they are in a position to do manipulative skills on their own by the guidance of the teacher. So this was all about the physical development. Of course, it was very brief, and I hope the lecture which will be presented to you specifically on physical development, and they will take more attention to the detail of the physical development. Here, this presentation, this discussion was basically introductory, and so it was limited to a certain extent. Now come to the social development, the another aspect. Social development is another very important aspect. When I say very important, I feel something sorry in myself, because each and every aspect of development are basically equally important, because all developments are interrelated, interconnected, and influence one another. So you can't say that this one is more important and that one is less important. So each and every aspect of development are equally important, and all must be taken care of by the parents and by the teachers. So what is the basics of the social development? What is the idea of social development? And so we are going to discuss about the introductory aspect of the social development. As the name suggests itself, social development means basically socialization of the child. This term basically is new for you, for the people who are coming to the field of education, but for social scientists, this is very important term. So socialization is a process of transformation of a child from individual being to social being. So when a child is born in the family, and as it grows up, the child at earliest stage is basically individual being, means the child think that everything belongs to him or her. Everything, even the small child, the infant, used to think that the mother belongs to him or her only, and no other siblings, no other brother and sister can compete for the same mother. The smallest sibling, the infant, the smallest child of the family, who is at very earliest stage, they used to think that father and mother and sister and brother and whatever commodities, whatever toys are there in the family, all belongs to him only, and they don't want to share it with other members of the family. So this is individual being. You will observe, and you must have observed, that at earliest stage, when the full packet of the chocolate is given to a child, then the child don't want to share it with his brothers or sisters, even don't want to share with his father, and even don't want to share with the mother also. But a time comes when the child start to share with the mother, and after some time the child share it with the father, and after again some time the child share it with the siblings, with the brothers and sisters in the family, but do not share with other members of the society. But in course of time, as the child grows, as the child internalize the social system, as the child learns the society and the social values and ethics, the child grow and develop in social aspects, and a time comes in his life when the child is in a position that individual is in a position to sacrifice everything for the society and for the community, for the family, and they don't matter whether something is rest with them or not. So this is the transformation of an individual from individual being to social being, and this transformation, this conversion of an individual being to social being is known as socialization. And the children, the learner, the students who are more socialized are basically good human beings. Are basically, you can say that they are on proper proper social development way. And if the children are not transforming in this way, and they are not in a position to learn, they are not interested to communicate with the society, intermingle with the society, mix with the other children in the class or in the school, mix with the relatives, mix with the community members, then there is a question mark. So this process of socialization must be taken care of, and each and every teacher and each and every parent should take care of whether the socialization of the child is going on in a proper way or not. And this socialization process needs to be strengthened, needs to be supported, and needs to be guided by the parent, guided by the teacher, guided by the seniors. So that through this socialization, the learner, the individual, the student may be in a position to well adjust in the society, and they can attain social adjustment in the society where they live. This is very important, and this is the reason that Garrett defines socialization as a social development, uh, uh, a process of social development whereby the biological individual is converted into a human person. Means human person means the person who imbibes each and every ethics and social values, social customs, social traditions of the society where they live in. So learning to conform to group standards, conducts, traditions by mixing with the family, peer groups, society, community, and develop the sense of oneness, have intercommunication and cooperation. These are the most important aspects of social development. And the social development. Through this social development, through the social interaction, through the social learning of the children takes place, and the learners, the students, the growing childs learn the social values which are enshrined in our constitution, even the values which are practiced by the family, the values which are practiced by the society, the values which are respected in the society, and the values basically which govern the society, and through which the social identity of the society is established, and the social identity of is imbibed by the growing children. So this is all about social development of the learner, and this social development is very important for a teacher, because teachers require to create such an environment in the school, in the classroom, where along with the intellectual development, along with the development of knowledge of the particular subject, along with the subject knowledge of different subjects like science, mathematics, or history, or political science, or language, along with all these subject knowledge, must strengthen the learners, the children must learn the social ethics, must learn the values, must learn the social systems, must learn the traditions of the society. Only then they can be having a balanced development, balanced personality. And if there is some lack, if the students are not involving with other children of the class, if students are not interacting with the other children of the class, if students are not interacting with the other members of the society, then this is basically a hamperance. This is basically a barrier in the social development of the learner. So you must have heard the name Vygotsky. Vygotsky have a tremendous job in the field of social development. They have given the theory, and he has discussed theory in detail, how social development takes place. Here in this discussion, our objective is not to discuss the Vygotsky's theory and Vygotsky's contribution in the field of social development. This topic will be discussed in some other presentation. Here, our purpose was to just introduce the aspect of social development. Hopefully, you must have understood that. Now, come to the third important aspect of development, which is intellectual development, that is mental development, that is the development of our mental abilities. Development of mental abilities, that is cognition, intelligence, reasoning ability, logical thinking, thinking in different directions, that is horizontal thinking and vertical thinking, and then imagination, and the finding cause and effect relationship, and all other abilities and functions in which mind dominates comes under the domain of intellectual development or mental development. Similarly, we all have some, capacity of memorize something. The ability to memorize something, ability to solve problems, and the problem solving skills, how you tackle the problem, how you handle the problem, how you face the problem, how you look into the problem, and whether you try to solve the problem or you just fled away just looking at the problem. So these are the skills which comes under the intellectual development of the children. Then all these development, that is the mental development or intellectual development, depends on so many factors, and it starts with sensation. You must have studied, you must have heard about sensation. Sensation is a mechanical process. So whenever you receive some information through your sense organ, like looking at something, your skin, with the help of your skin, with the help of your eye, with the help of your tongue, with the help of your nose by smelling, and with the help of listening to some voices. So these are the sense organs, and through which we receive information. And this is basically mechanical part of biological process, and mechanical process where just you receive information. Now what information is received, and this nervous system, the neuron carry this information to the mind, and mind try to give meaning to that information, what it is. For example, if your hand is touched with some object, then this is just a sensation, but the mind tells what it is. Is it a duster? Is it a pencil? Is it a chalk? Is it a book? Is it my bag? Is it a mobile? So this giving meaning to that sensation is perception, and this sensation and perception is very important, in the mental development or in the intellectual development of the child. So as a teacher, we are supposed to sensitize children to what sensation, and train them in perceptive skills, so that they can perceive in a right direction, in a proper direction. Then with the help of this sensation and perception, concept of any object is developed in the mind of the learner. So the concept formation is third very important aspect of intellectual development or mental development. So we learn lots of concept in all subjects, be it a social science, be it a language, be it science, physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, any subject of the world, any subject of study in the world, basically full of concepts are there, and all these concepts are learned by the learners and taught by the teachers. But the teaching of concept with proper strategy is very important, and that is not possible without understanding sensation and perception. If you give the learner an opportunity to sense something, then you will be in a position to develop concept in a right manner, and with an easy process. For example, if you want to if you want to teach about the length and breadth, the concept of length of a table, so give the learner an opportunity to measure the length. So table is there, desk is there, and give them the chance to observe and use the scale for measurement. This will help them to develop the concept of measurement and concept of length of measuring anything. So this is concept formation. So in the concept formation process, sensation is important, perception is important, and during the process of concept formation, the child discriminate among different ideas and different things, different meaning that are coming to their mind, and ultimately they generalize the concept, whatever being taught to them and whatever they are trying to learn, and finally they reach to the acquisition of that concept. So there is a detailed discussion and detailed deliberation and detailed method of teaching concept, and basically there is a models of teaching, and which talks about the teaching of concept, how concept should be taught to the children. Here also in this syllabus of child development learning, in the last unit we have a topic titled as models of teaching, where we are supposed to discuss the concept attainment model of Brunner. There we will discuss the models of Brunner regarding concept attainment. Here we are not going to go into the detail of concept formation. Now, understanding and other higher cognitive skills like analyzing, synthesizing, or creating and evaluating, involving learner's mind, intellect, all these comes under intellectual development of the child and mental development of the learner. And similarly, designing teaching learning tasks by the pupil teachers, like you people who are BA students, you are supposed to design teaching learning tasks when you will go for a school internship program in some school during teaching practice. We the teachers and all the school teachers are required to design the teaching learning process, and this designing, while we design teaching learning process, while we design curriculum, we need to take care of the age of the child, the stage of the child, basically the intellectual developmental stage of the child, and looking into that stage, we can design the activities for learning, we can design the curriculum in a proper way so that the students can understand all those things in a swift manner or in an easy manner. You must have heard about Jean Piaget. Jean Piaget has given the theory of intellectual development, mental development, and he has very tremendous work on this in this area. The work is basically a very unique type of work. It is a longitudinal study which was done on his own child. This is not the point of discussion in today's discussion. This will be again discussed where the topic on mental development will be covered in some other presentation. Now, a very important thing is that we must understand what are the factors affecting mental developmental growth and mental development. As we have discussed earlier, heredity and environment are two most important factors which affect all growth and development. Maturation and learning are responsible for controlling the process of mental growth and development. Maturation helps in achieving the physical growth of the neurons and the nervous system, which in turn affect the process of mental growth and development of the learners. And this is the reason that we must take care of giving the right kind of environment to the learners and the right kind of nutritional support to the learners, so that the nervous system, the neurons, and the entire process of biological system must be having good nutritional value, so that they can grow and develop in a proper manner. Brain and nervous system play a key role in the direction of mental development. Now, the question is how to enhance or improve the mental development of the children. How to enhance or how to improve, how to increase the mental ability or the intellectual development of the learner. According to Sorensen, a child's legs, arms, and body are made stronger by healthful play. He means to say that if you provide right kind of activity, right kind of play, right kind of field activity, students will be having opportunity to strengthen their leg, their arms, their body, and such other parts. Similarly, we can deduce that the mind, with its organic counterpart, the nervous system, improves and becomes better equipped because of use and exercise in the form of reading, calculating, memorizing, speaking, imagining, and other mental activities. So if you want to develop the intellectual ability, the mental abilities of the learner, you need to involve learners in these activities so that the student can use their mental abilities frequently in a big manner, more frequently, and the more they will use their brain, the more they will use their reasoning, the more they will use their mind, the more they will use their logic and such mental abilities, they will add to their development in the intellectual abilities. Now, the last important point of today's presentation is educational implication. What are the educational implications of all these growth and development, or the understanding of all these growth and development for a teacher is very important, because unless you know the general general process, unless you know the general principles of development, unless you know the process of development and how it goes on, how you will in a position to support your learner to grow in a better way. So understanding helps arranging for proper learning exercises to the children at the very appropriate time. What is expected from the children at different ages help teacher to assess their growth and development and provide proper learning environment experiences and refer to medical treatment or counseling if required. So if you know all these things, if you know that at say 6 years of age, and at 8 years of age, at 9 years of age, at 12 years of age, what would be the level of the growth and development of the learner, and what are the problem being faced by the learner, only then you can provide a better opportunity, and then you can provide some avenues, only then you can provide some ways to handle those problems and to put the child on the right track. And if this is not in the control of the teacher, then you can refer to some medical practitioners. So teacher can himself or herself take many preventive and curative measures to bring the developmental process on track for each and every learner you are teaching in the classroom or the school premises. Teacher may be better prepared to provide needed care, security, and preventive safeguard for their adequate adjustment, well-being, and progress of each and every child. it helps these understanding, that is understanding of the growth and development and the pattern of the physical and social and mental development, help the teacher, curriculum planner and trainers to plan age appropriate content, learning experiences, assessment studies and other related activities, so that the entire process of teaching and learning, the entire process of education of the learners can go on in a right manner. Friends, now we are reaching at the last stage of our discussion and presentation. So today we have discussed about the growth and development, and we found that growth and development are, of course, two different terms. Growth is, quantitative in nature, whereas development is a qualitative, change in the body of an organism. But in wider terms, they are used interchangeably. And we have also discussed the aspects of development like physical development and social development, intellectual development. The other three development, that is emotional development, language development, will be discussed in some other presentation. And of course, the introductory part of these, that is emotional development, language development, and moral development, will be taken in next presentation by me itself. But the theory behind all these development will be discussed by some other expert in the area in the coming series of lecture. And we have also discussed about the educational implication for teachers for all these three aspects of development. And we can say that if we as a teacher understand the pattern of all these growth and development, only then we can act as a better teacher. We can be equipped for guiding the students, guiding the learners on the right path, and we can add to the proper development and the growth and proper education of the children who are under our under our guidance, under our teaching learning process in the classroom or on the school premises. With this, I thank you all and wish to see you in the next discussion. Thank you so much.